In the midst of a bustling city, there was a quiet corner where whispers of secrets danced in the darkness. A young woman lived in this seemingly peaceful part of town. She was known for her upbeat personality and fierce determination. But she had a secret. Was a masterful artist, whose canvas was not a board, but rather the very fabric of reality. Her talent for painting was only matched by her ability to blend in, to become invisible when the world required it of her. Her eyes were sharp as the blade she kept hidden beneath her pillow, catching every detail and shade of the people around her. Studio apartment reflected her soul. A jigsaw puzzle of colors, with half-finished paintings hanging against walls and brushes scattered like C0NF from a forgotten party. The aroma of turpentine and oil paints filled the air, mingling with the far and tea scent of jasmine tea from the mug that had gone cold hours before. Her cat, Mochi, was lounging on the windowsill, watching the city lights play tag with the night. The only thing that could break the silence was the Arca's Onal CN in the distance, a sad blues to the city's never-ending dance of disorder and order. One evening, was carefully cleaning her brushes when she heard a knock on her door, a knock that did not follow the usual rhythm of neighbors or friends, but rather a dull, berate, almost ominous pattern. Hey, Gutsk. P.S. A B.A.T. She knew who it was even before she looked through the peephole and saw the shadowy figure of a man, tall and broad-shouldered, with a face celled from the assurance of P0 and dear anger. Her eyes D Ned with recognition. It was Yoongi, the not zero Rias, Mafia boss whose mere mention could make GR0 when men tremble. The man who had summoned her with a promise of PROT EURCTION, and a price she was unwilling to pay. Marriage. A marriage she was forced into to save her brother from a DBT he had created, not hers. Enter KD Euro PBRTH. Attempting to come the NG Street 0 Malaysian ringgits ins, her, and slowly opened the door. The moment their eyes met, she knew her peaceful world of art and solitude was about to be a Euro v Euro RS, blychiated by the no world of $dollar iron and orbs $dollar iron that he repo Euro centered. Yoongi aced Europe ins. His G at CSW Euro ping room with the same in NS tie that had earned him the title of FRED leader. His gaze was drawn to the VIBRNT splashes of color and chaotic beauty of her art LNG ring on the half-finished canvas that seemed to pulse with life. He looked at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Curiosity, perhaps, with a hint of something softer. The silence was THCK with $10 iron, a palpable air reese that appeared to compress the air around them. N's hand GHT Euro Ned around the handle of the brush she had. Pi copyright ked up for comfort. Let Veng her canoe copyright calls white. She had no irons about what the night would bring. Yoongi was notorious for his ruffle Euro SSN Euro SS, and she was merely a PWN in his grand plan. However, as he ached her, she couldn't help but notice how his gaze softened when it fell on her, as if he recognized the childish Zero City that Ly Ben Euro at her death and appearance, with GH that seemed to carry the weight of the world. Yoongi reached out and gently took the brush from her Tia Euro bling hand. He turned it over on his own, inspecting the BR stills with surprising interest. Your work is fascinating, he murmured softly, sending SH. Thus, D0 when her SB, NE. Tell me. Why? N, what makes you paint the way you do? The question took her off guard. No one had ever asked her that before, including her brother. She SWLL0'd hard, trying to find the right words to describe the chaotic symphony of emotions that danced in her. I paint ... because it's the only way I know how to speak, she finally admitted, her voice small and vulnerable. The colors, the shapes, they're like my own language, telling stories that I can't put into words. Yoongi's expression became more thoughtful as he studied the painting. It was a SW, a L of blues and purples, a night sky full of stars that seemed ready to fall and shatter at any moment. The same stars that had guarded her countless nights of solitude. He turned to look into her eyes. I want to learn this language, he said quietly and earnestly. I want to know the stories you hide within these strokes. The mood in the room changed, from one of fear and duty to something completely different. Something made her heart race and her breath catch in her throat. And, for the first time since this arrangement was made, why? And felt a glimmer of hope that, perhaps, there was more to this man than the M0 everyone painted him to be. Your world is so different from mine, he said, pacing the brush down with a gentle click. Yet, even in this chaos, I see order, I see beauty. His words felt like a WRNN WRPPing around her like KBL and cat. She had no idea she Euro did. Why? And took an uncertain step forward. His son, a 8-year-old mix of leather and sandalwood. Engu fed her. Yours is a world of power and control, she said, her voice barely audible. Mine is a world of freedom and escape. Yoongi held her gaze, and for a brief moment, she caught a glimpse of something she never expected to find in a man like him. Understanding, he reached out and brushed a STLY low copyright K of hair off her face, his thumb resting on her CHK. Perhaps, he joked, our worlds aren't so different after all. He took a step closer, and why? And felt the heat in his B0D, which go against his reputation for being cold. She closed her eyes, unsure of what she read from this situation. His hand cupped her CHNT, etting her face up to meet his, and when he Euro at Ned D0 went to, he dollar her. She didn't M0 their away. His key dollar was surprisingly gentle, almost reverent, as if he was afraid she'd break under the hasty at in of his pud dollar iron. Why? N's eyes fluttered open, and she saw the CONFL CT in his own day reverses. Something softer, something she couldn't name. She reached up and rested her hand on his CHST, feeling his heartbeat bend the tailored fabric of his shirt. It was a heart she had expected to be made of ice, but it was beating with the same WRNTH as her own. Yoongi PU add away, searching her eyes for something she wasn't sure she could give. I won't lie to you, he said, his voice gruff and emotional. This is not what I had planned for our first night, but seeing you here, in your element, makes me feel something. The admission was raw and honest, and it was all she needed to make a decision. Then let's make it ours, she said softly, SL. Ting her hand, D0 went to into, any with his. Let's write our own story. Yoongi Euro D her to the couch with a nod that seemed to see zero envy. The wee GT of his agreement, the unspoken promise of a future filled with more than fear and obligation hanging in the air. They sat down side by side, and as the city outside continued its never-ending dance of light and shadow, they began to paint a new picture together. One of love and a $euro sign. Of two worlds colliding and finding. HRMONY in the most unexpected of places. The brushes danced in their HEDS. The canvas of their lives. STEURged out in front of them. And the colors of their shared $$ created a story neither of them could have imagined. And as the night grew ochre, the stars outside their window became brighter, casting a soft glow on their relationship. This was not the end, but rather the beginning of a story that defied all expectations. Why? En felt strangely comforted by Yoongi's presence. Is a zero exterior giving way to a G-Euro talker. Ozity she hadn't expected. His gaze never left her. Euro led by day. Reefer understanding, rather than power or control. He watched as she did her brush into the vibrant paints, her strokes sure and quick, leaving a trail of emotion behind. Their conversation there fell zero word as freely as the paint on the canvas, tear-arching on everything from their favorite childhood memories to their Euro past vet rupees. Yoongi discussed his rise through the Mafia, the price he paid for power, and the solitude that came with it. Why? And listened, her heart a copyright hing for the boy who'd been forced to become a man far too quickly. In turn, she shared her own journey, her love of art, and the quiet rebellion she had developed in a world that frequently demanded conformity. Yoongi's expression became thoughtful as he took in her words, his thumb TRCING circles on the back of her hand, a silent promise that she would never be silenced again. The price he paid for power, and the solitude that came with it. Why? And listened, her heart a copyright hing for the boy who had been F-Zeros to become a man far too quickly. In turn, she shared her own journey, her love of art. As the hours $ed, the air in the room became THCK with the scent of paint and the unspoken convey $lines lurking in the shadows. Why? N's fear began to fade, replaced by tentative trust as as a new spring bud. Yoongi took the brush away from her again, and she didn't resist. Instead, she watched as he painted with surprising deli copyright AC, a faint smile on his LPS. The image that emerged on the canvas was a landscape of their hearts, a place where the chaos of their lives intersected and merged into something beautiful. It was a promise of what could be, of a love that could go beyond their respective worlds. And as they painted, the tension between them shifted into something else, making her heart race and her SKN tingle with excitement. Why? Enter KD Euro PBRTH and turned to face him, eyes searching for answers to questions she had yet to ask. Yoongi returned her gaze, his eyes dark and filled with a day that mirrored hers. Without saying anything, he pulled her into his Hermes as WRM and comf zero ting as the sun's first key $. On a cold morning. Their key $. Became the euro per and more urgent as the key T of their newfound connection pre $. Down on them. The fabric of their clothes became a prison, tearing their DOD heat, and the day to be CLOC, two TOUCH each other's SK, N, GRW stronger, a parted ways. The ruthless, their eyes LOKED in a silent understanding. With Euro bling hands, they under $. Said each other. Their TOUCHs, as tender as a lover's convey $. Iron. Each piece of CLO ting that fell to the floor BROKDOWNA barrier. Rev Euro at ling the true nature of their day. Ray dot and when their hearts were finally bow before each other, they came together in a union that was both fiery and gentle. Their bod SM0 ved in a timeless dance with each touch. Decal at ring WR on the fate that had brought them together. But in the quiet moments between the storms of $$ iron, YN realized that this was not a battle, but a symphony of love that they were creating together, note by sweet note. And as the night on and the city outside grew quieter, they into Ned on the floor of her studio, Sir Zero undid by the evidence of their collaborative creation. The canvas before them demonstrated the power of love to overcome fear and find beauty in the most unlikely of places. Yoongi's misty turned around her, and she felt the steady beat of his heart against her back. He whispered her name, his DRTH warm against her neck, and she realized she had found a home in the most dangerous of places, in the heart of a man once feared by all. Their love a in the secret garden of their shared $$ iron. Nourished by past tears and present sweat, they painted together, their strokes becoming more dying and intimate, just like their BODs. The canvases GRW in number, each representing a piece of their souls. EXP0 said for the other to see. However, the shadow of their reality couldn't be ignored indefinitely. The world outside the studio was less forgiving, and whispers of their zero envy tiny union reached those who would tear them apart. And was well aware that Yoongi's eyes would not rest until they had exacted their revenge on the man who had dared to soften for a girl who painted her heart. One evening, as they at angled in a jumble of paint-spattered sheets, a loud knock echoed throughout the apartment. The sound was like a gun hot in the stillness of their hideout, jetting them out of their SSFUL state. Yoongi's eyes narrowed, and he paid out. His muscles ning as he ate the door. Through the peephole, he saw his men's expressions. GHT with urgency. What is it? He demanded, his voice low and threatening. Boss, we have a situation. One of them said quietly, it's about your wife's brother. N's heart doctor OPPD to her send zero mark cold. Fear replacing the WRMTH that had previously been present. Her brother, the reason she had come into this world of shadows, was in trouble. Yoongi turned to her, his expression unreadable. Stay here, he said, his voice a command she couldn't ignore. As he Ned his suit of power and left the apartment, she felt a sense of zero ding cr Europe over her. The gentle artist in her was being swallowed by the ruthless world she had tried to escape, and she knew that she had to face the storm head-on. Gathering her courage, she PPD into a zero B and followed him. The whisper of fabric the only sound in the quiet hallway. The night there was CK with the promise of rain as they stepped outside, and the neon lights cast a glow on the dark streets. Yoongi's car was waiting, its engine purring like the ASD about to P0 ends. He held the door open for her, and she PPD her heart racing. The drive was tense, and the silence between them reveled volumes about the unspoken words that hung in the air. Clark copyright had the seatbelt, her mind recopyrighting with possibilities for what could have happened. When the car came to a stop in front of a nondescript building, she knew the time had come. They Europe did into a world of cold steel and concrete. which contrasted CHRPLY with the Washington MDA of her studio. The zero mar of fear and desperation was palpable, and ASH. The Randy zero when her SB. Any. This was Yoongi's domain, and he Ned, sup him as an underworld king. And now she was a part of it, whether she wanted to or not. Yoongi lured her to a room where her brother sat with the LODSHOT. Eyes and a brew, said B0D. The sight of him made her want to cry. But she sent led herself, relying on the ST in GTH that had gotten her this far. He looked up at her, his eyes filled with both regret and relief. Why? I'm sorry. He CH0 cut out. Yoongi's gaze was like a WH. La dollar hang out at the man who had caused trouble at his door. What did you do? He GR0'd the T-Euro and Euroness of their night together gone. Her brother's voice trembled as he talked about his mistakes, the debts he owed, and the lines he had crowed $$ ed. Why? N's heart ached. That she knew Yoongi's was made of a different substance, one that did not forgive easily, and zero neth euro less. She watched. In awe as his expression softened and his jaw uncle Euronch. I'll handle this, he said. His tone firm but not harsh. You go home. Why? N's gaze searched his, recognizing the man she had seen that first night. The one who had seen past her fear and discovered her heart. She nodded, acknowledging that this was his world, and his beatul to F. GT. As she left the building, the rain began to fall, painting the streets in a Sirumba symphony of grey. She climbed into the back of the car, her mind a jumble of emotions. The gentle pitter-patter of raindrops on the window provided a stark contrast to the storm Euro wing within her. A brother's fate was now in Yoongi's hands, and she could only hope that the T-Euro and Euroness she had noticed in him earlier that night would be a Euroveil. Why? And returned to her studio, the quiet ness feeling like a the where their shared WRNTH once existed. She looked at the unfinished painting, its colors now muted and lifeless. The chaos on the canvas mirrored the turmoil within her soul. Her hand H0 veered over the brushes, but she couldn't get herself to paint. Instead, she curled up on the couch, her mind racing, like the drops of rain outside. Hours later, the door opened, and she looked up to see Yoongi, standing there, his eyes hit vie with a wee GT she hadn't seen before. He was still $3 said in his suit, but it looked as though it had been through a WR. Without a word, he apazerated her and WRPP'd her in his Amiz, the WRNTH of his Hermes offering the comfort she desperately and Euro did. He reeked of rain and city, Essentia GR0 and to enjoy their brief time together. It's done, he said softly into her hair. Your brother is safe. Relief flow zeroded through her. But it was anged with a bit Euroness she couldn't identify. The cost of his safety was a debt she knew she'd be saddled with forever to a world she didn't want to be a part of. Thank you, she said softly, her voice tia Euron bling. Yoongi GRPPED her Klee, speaking volumes about the unspoken promise he made to her that night. I won't let anyone hurt you, he stated firmly. I'll protect you both, no matter the cost. Why? N backed away, looking up at him with gratitude and determination. But I don't want to be a part of this, she said, her voice firm. I want to live in my world of color and freedom. He stepped back, his expression unreadable. And I want to live in your world, he said, his voice strained with emotion. But our worlds are so different. Why? N. They're like coal and water. The silence T copyright head between them, with the rain outside being the only sound in the room. Why? N knew he was correct, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there had to be some way to bridge the GP between their lives. She took a D-Euro-P. BREATH. Her gaze never let bang him. Then let's find a way to make it work, she said. Her voice full of resolve. She didn't realize she was $Euro said. Yoongi's expression softened, a hint of a smile playing on his P.S. He reached for her hand. His thumb at sing the del. Kate. Lines of her palm. We'll find a way, he agreed, his voice a gentle rumble. Together, the storm outside mirrored the tumulins to them as they confronted the reality of their situation. However, as their fingers intertwined, she felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps, just maybe, they could overcome the odds and create a future out of the chaos. Their love was a dance of light and shadow, a struggle between the $dollar of their union and the cold, hard reality of their world's colliding. Each step was therefore fraught with dear anger and uncertainty. But why? Anne was determined not to back down. For the first time in her life, she had met someone who saw past her mask and understood the silent cries of her soul, and she was determined to fight for the love that had sprouted in the most unexpected of places. Their journey was far from over, and the pages of their story remained blank, waiting to be filled with the colors of their shared experiences. But as the rain stopped and the first rays of dawn began to illuminate the sky, why? And felt they glimmer of hope. Together, they could rewrite their fate, creating a picture of love that would withstand the test of time, even on the darkest of nights.